All right. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. If you're listening on archive, make sure to press the like button. Make sure it turns blue right now. Go ahead and do that. All right. I'm being joined right now by Joe Habib. All right. From Ringside Report. And of course, I'm being joined by Chief Funky 84. Subscribe to his channel as well. And you could catch him on my channel here on Hispanics Causing Panic every Wednesday. This is Throwback Thursday, the science of violence. Remembering 916 Chris, and we might jump into some other boxing topics as the video progresses. We'll see. These are just one of those things where we'll see where it takes us. First of all, gentlemen, how you doing? How you doing, G Funky?
I'm good, man. I'm out here enjoying this weather. We finally got some normal weather. It was like we had a 20 degree drop the other day here, so I'm outside enjoying it, man.
Well, there you go. Is the weather as good over there, babe?
Last week was very humid. This week it's just sunny and just warm, but it's not hot and humid. It's like in the
Gotcha.
like 78 today, which is good.
And, hey, speaking of Throwback Thursday, look at that Countryman Fist T-shirt at Joe B. Badger. That's some throwback stuff right there.
I haven't been this happy. I haven't been this happy in years.
Man, Throwback Thursday, Countryman's Fist, bro. Remember they sent us all the T-shirt? Like
Yeah,
every YouTuber got T-shirts, right? And we
that's
all
right.
wore them and shit. I remember we proudly wore them.
This
We put
t-shirt
them
so
on.
old. This t-shirt so old it could probably walk around by itself.
Yeah. I remember doing T-shirts with that. I remember all of us were promoting. Oh, everybody go to countrymansfist.com. How many
So,
T-shirts do they think they sold? Because the whole YTBC had the T-shirts.
a lot of probably about, I don't know, maybe 50, 60.
Okay, all right. And they became like our I guess they were our sponsors, right, on Roboto Radio. I
They
remember them.
were, yeah, they were.
Yeah,
I think I still have that. No, I don't. Do I have that shirt anymore?
I don't have it no more, man. It was made of a very thin material. You remember?
I think mine disintegrated.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you gonna do, Chief Funky? You ever get those Countryman Fist T-shirts?
I don't think he was born.
No, I did not get one of
He's
those.
older than us, Beef. I don't know, man. Hey, Black and Brown Boxing, Joe Lopez, 40-ounce, haplotype. Now, Blood is out in the middle of nowhere, so he might not even have internet access right now. So if he can't make it on, it's okay. That's Florida internet. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But check it out, man. 916 Chris. He came around the same time I did. He was kind of like in the same, I don't know what to call it, wave or class. I think you were kind of in that same wave, babe. And he was a guy that talked boxing and MMA, and I do remember him as one of the first that talked both as a fan and didn't really give a shit about the quote unquote rivalry, because that was a big thing for a lot of years, the MMA boxing rivalry. And I know I got caught up with a lot of those debates. It's just not really a thing anymore. Once in a while, but what do you remember about 916 Chris yourself, babe?
He was very like a lot of people say they're unbiased. He really was unbiased. And when he did a video, he often had a different take than everybody else. He wasn't just going to say what everyone else said. He didn't subscribe to groupthink. He was his own man.
Right.
And I would debate him, but when I would debate him, we disagreed and we debate. But he never insulted me, never attacked me. He debated me intellectually, and I miss those days of being able to intellectually debate somebody instead of these debates turning into these ad hominem attacks that so often happen here, because people just can't look at things objectively. Everything is emotion. Chris didn't bring emotion into his analysis.
Right.
He would preface things sometimes with, even though this guy's my favorite fighter, I don't think he matches up well against this guy, or whatever. So again, as I've said several times, it's okay to have your biases, but you also have to be objective at the same time. And I think Chris definitely exemplified that, in my opinion.
I agree. G Funky. What do you remember about 916 Chris, man?
Man, just about everything that Beeb said. He was very unbiased. He would just sit there, give me a mic, give me a camera, and let me go. That's what I remember him. Not a lot of fancy stuff. He would just boom, get straight to the point, break it down, and he knew his stuff, man. And you're right. He's one of those guys that didn't care about the MMA boxing thing. He did a lot of predictions on the UFC or another MMA stuff that was going on. But yeah, he was never really. I never seen him go at anybody and make it these verbal wars on YouTube that people would have. I discovered him kind of late, man. I think it was probably like around 2011 or something like that. I heard his name on a Bruce Blitz show where he was talking about some of the channels that he likes to watch, and he mentioned 916 Chris, and I said, "Boom, 916! Like I'm from 916. Like let me check this dude out." So I looked him up and I subscribed to his channel right away to support him because he's we're from the same town, from the same city, and he was, man, really, really good at breaking down fights, and we always interacted with each other. He was a good guy, man. And I said when I made my video to him after he had passed away that I'm going to try to do my best to hold it down in his place, being that I'm from 916 also. So, I hope I'm doing a good job. I'm doing it the best that I can, But for me, he's always going to be the number one guy from the city because I haven't seen anybody else from around here make videos or be this well known in the boxing community on YouTube. So he's the guy, in my opinion, from this area.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Factoid who wanted to come on, but he couldn't make it on. There were several people that wanted to come on. Unfortunately, they couldn't make the show, but they had prior commitments and stuff. But I just want to read this statement he sent me. Right, this is from E Factoid, E Allen. Right, when I first heard the Science of Violence podcast on Block Talk Radio, I completely envisioned the guy on the other side of the microphone as an actual professional. Chris spoke about MMA like a man who grew up around the sport and one who was completely in love with it. He could speak to the talent, to their strengths, to their weaknesses, and have the ability to break down a fight both before and after in a way that I haven't heard many quote unquote experts do that level of brilliance. I don't think there could have been a better name for an MMA production than The Science of Violence. It was an absolute perfect show title for a brutal yet complex sport. I envisioned the moments we shared at Hellstorm Sports, and in all honesty, my favorite moments are when I was able to announce that his show was coming up on Sunday and not miss out. I took pride in advertising his show on the network, not only because he was on the team, but because his product was that damn good. I regret that I never met the man in person, as I'm sure many of us do, but I feel grateful that I had a brief opportunity to interact with him. That's from Factoid. All right. And we'll tell a little bit about 916 Chris and his journey here, but 916 Chris, was from that old school 10-minute, 15-minute videos, in and out. And shout out to Wheelchair Man John. It's just him and 916 Chris bonded over the love of boxing and being disabled, right? So 916 Chris is a fan of both MMA and boxing, right? He was a huge Nick Diaz fan. He liked the Diaz brothers, and and one of the reasons he liked the Diaz brothers was because how violent their fights were. You know what I mean? He liked fighters like Alfredo Angulo. He liked Matisse. He liked Provodnikov. He had a certain style of fighter that he was, yes, was he objective and unbiased on the stuff he said? Sure. But he also let his biases known, right? He let people know the style of fighter that he liked. And I appreciated that. It wouldn't cloud his judgment when he would give prediction for fights. But he made it clear who he was rooting for and who he what style he liked. He liked that brutal, come forward, brawling type guy, and he was not apologetic about it. That's what he liked. He liked that. He liked the violence over the science, right? I mean, at the end of it, and he just missed out, man, on that Nate Diaz John Jones fight too. That's one thing that not John Jones. What I'm talking about, McGregor, Conor McGregor, right? And I'll be honest, when Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor, the first guy I thought about when I was at the bar watching that fight was 916 Chris. Because he was a Nate Diaz guy. So it's that reminded me of him, and I was like, yeah, that's why he likes Nate Diaz. He was all bloodied up and everything, and that's just the way it is. Beep, can you appreciate someone who's honest about the style they like, but at the same time doesn't really cloud their judgment in terms of when they, predict fights and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I mean, he would come out and say that I'm not the type of guy that likes to see a technical boxing match. I like to see a fight. And he believed that there was science in violence. So, you could still be a smart fighter and be an aggressive fighter, in his opinion. It wasn't all about just being technical, being a counterpuncher, boxing from the outside. You could get in someone's chest and fight them, but still do it in a smart way. And that's what he interpreted in his videos, I thought.
Absolutely. What do you think, Chief Funky? I mean, he really liked that aggressive style. I know you and him, for obvious reasons, were big Diego Corrales fans. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, for sure. Corrales being here from Sacramento, just like Chris and I. Yeah, man. Diego Corrales is a guy who, he had that style that Chris appreciated. Me, right. I'm more of a, I used to kind of like those kind of guys like Chris did, the guys that would, want to have an actual fight like that. Right. But as I got a little bit older, I learned to, appreciate all styles of fighting and things like that. But Corrales represents that for sure, man. He's a dude who was never out of it. He could be knocked down, multiple times in a fight and he'd still be dangerous. He gave it his all. He always wanted, go out, like he would say, go out on my shield, like when he got his lip busted in that Casa Mayor fight, and he was just leaking everywhere, and he said, give me one more round, like that's the kind of spirit, and that's the kind of spirit that we have in this city, because we're always looked at as the underdogs, and we always feel like we have to do a little extra to get to that next level. But I want to say this also. I know you spoke about how he liked the Diaz brothers, and they're also from Northern California, from Stockton, which is about maybe a 30-minute drive from here. Right. But him and I had a common hatred for one fighter, man. I think you know who that is. That's Vladimir Klitschko. Him and I did not like to watch Klitschko fight. I thought his style was just ugly. I didn't like all the holding and the wrapping and the things like that. So when Tyson Fury beat him and stopped his run, he was the first person I thought about. And I made a video, post my video right away, because I was happy that he had lost. And I said, you know what, shout out to 916 Chris, man, because I know if you was here, you'd be just as happy as I am that he lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He actually has a video, it's still up on YouTube, where he talks about why he came up with the name Science of Violence. And it was kind of a knockoff of the Sweet Science, right? Mm-hmm. And he literally said, he's like, well, what's so sweet about what these guys are doing in the ring or in the octagon? There's really nothing sweet about it, Now, I get why it's called a Sweet Science. I use that term, but that's where he got the science of violence, rather than the sweet science, for those that don't know. But, shout out to him. Me, I didn't really interact with Chris until I joined Hailstorm Sports briefly after I left Robodope Radio. And he was already on the network when I joined. So it was a full cast, man. We had a full squad at Hailstorm Sports. And the reason he was like Factoid mentioned MMA mostly is because he was doing MMA since I was doing the boxing on the network, and Chris, didn't talk boxing, so I could talk boxing on the network. So I always appreciated that, and he said, "Hey, I'll talk MMA. It's all good," and I appreciated that all day. You know what I mean? There was some controversy when I was six, Chris. Like one thing I remember, somebody from here, you know, he got into it with a certain YouTuber, right? A certain YouTuber was, did a video and he started going back and forth with them in the comment section, like us boxing fans do, and like we did back in the day. And I want to ask you this, B, but this YouTuber came on here, and I don't know if you remember this, you funky, but this YouTuber came on here and he was like, he didn't speak to 916 Chris directly, but it was obvious who he was talking about. I felt because he was saying some of you guys, need to let me believe in what I believe in and have my opinion, right? Why don't you stand up for what you believe in? Stand up. Stand up for what you believe in. Why do you stand up for what you believe in? Right? So he left a little bit of plausible deniability, I guess. But do you remember that, Joe?
I do. And then I remember your comment. You were the first commenter on that video that he made.
Yeah.
You said, "Take this down, bro."
Take this video
Like,
down. Yeah.
and he took it. And he took it down.
Well, he took it down after the backlash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he took it down because I told him to take it down. If he would have listened to me, there wouldn't have been a backlash. You know what I mean? But
Well, he got smashed within a matter of an hour after he made the video, and
yeah,
he didn't leave that up that long.
did you believe him that it? Because he did a follow video and he said he didn't know he was in a wheelchair and that he didn't know he was paralyzed. And he said,
"Do you know? I didn't know either for about 8 months.
Okay,
I never knew. I think you told me. I don't know if it was you or someone else told me because I did not. I could not tell. I didn't know. I knew then when he made that video, when that YouTuber made that video. I knew then.
That YouTuber was around for a while.
Yeah,
it wasn't some new YouTuber.
But
so you think? Do you believe him when he said he was just talking about? I was just talking about standing up for your beliefs, like metaphorically.
No, I don't believe him. I don't.
Okay.
I just don't. I could be totally wrong in my assessment, but I don't believe him. I just don't.
Yeah, he apologized and everything, and when 916 Chris died, he did do a video. You know what I mean? And he apologized again, but But what do you remember? Do you remember about any of that, Chief Funky?
Yeah, I actually do remember that, and unfortunately, it took that incident for me to realize that he was paralyzed. That he was in a wheelchair, and I kind of had a feeling, that he might be, but I wasn't gonna ask him. But yeah, I remember that. I remember all the videos that came out after, and yeah, that's terrible, man, to say. And I'm still, I don't know. I'm leaning more towards I think he was trying to take shots at him, but I'm not for sure if he was or not. But yeah, that's if he knew that, then that's not cool at all, man.
It's the way he emphasized when he said "stand up." It wasn't like stand up for what you believe in. He's like stand up, like you know what I mean. He just emphasized it,
Yeah, he was like, "Well, why don't you stand up for what you believe in? Why don't you stand up?" Like it was emphasized in a way where when I heard it, I knew. Maybe it's because I knew, like maybe my perspective is different because I knew about 916 Chris.
Did you always know right from the beginning, or was there a time when you didn't know?
there was a time where I strongly suspected, but it's just like everybody else, I wasn't gonna ask. You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, or like, you know what I mean? It's not something. It's inappropriate to ask. You know what I mean?
I honestly did not know for a good 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
I didn't know.
So somebody let you know and stuff. Okay. I always suspected. You know what I mean?
I wasn't sure.
Because I have family members that are like, you know, paralyzed and stuff. So I could kind of tell. But it's one of those situations where if I don't want to ask and be wrong, like, no, I'm not paralyzed. You know what I mean? Like it would have been very awkward. So I didn't ask, but he did emphasize it, man. But at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. You apologize and we all move on. You know what I mean? So,
Is
you
his
know,
channel is his channel still up? Because I can't find his channel anymore.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's still.
Okay.
You talking about Chris's channel or?
Yeah.
That was just Chris, yeah. Well, I don't
Yeah,
want to
it's
say the
still there.
YouTuber's name, but
No, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about. I'm not talking about the other YouTuber.
Sure.
I'm talking about his 916 Chris's channel.
absolutely, yes, it's still
Yeah,
up.
it's still
yeah.
up. Yeah.
I can't. When I do a search for it, I can't find it.
Oh, it's definitely up. I'll do the share right now, but on the screen. 916 Chris channel is definitely up for sure. His last video, ironic and upbeat was he does the video, and the first thing he says is Provannikov Matisse, a prediction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, I think that's the fight he was going to go see when the unfortunate incident happened. But he starts the video by saying, everybody's looking forward to Manny Pacquiao Mayweather. Not me. I'm looking forward to Matisse Provannikov. That's going to be a better fight. He wasn't really wrong about that, but but that's the guy. He wanted good fights. Now, wheelchair man John says Chris was one of the only people to pick Manny Pacquiao or Oscar, but didn't boast about it because he didn't care who won the fight. He just wanted to see good fights. I miss those days. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. He was one of those guys, man. And like that letter that you wrote off or that you read off,
yeah,
where they said that they regret not meeting him in person. Man, I have the same regrets, man, because I actually live near the guy, But and there was man, I did think about asking him one time, like hey, maybe we could meet up, at a some place to watch a fight or something, But man, unfortunately I just didn't reach out. I had a lot of things going on in my life too at the time, so that's probably what played a role in me not reaching out like that. But still, I wish I could have at least hooked up with him one time and watched the fight, man.
I agree.
What about that guy David Chen? He was kind of cool too. I remember him.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to David Chen. I know.
I see him on. I saw him on. I think I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I don't see him do anything with boxing anymore.
Okay, well that happens a lot. People get tired of the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of is what it is. But us three are a rarity. The people that stick around, you know what I mean? Like we're
like I was doing last night.
Is that you, B, with boxing? Yeah,
I'm looking
like
for a vein, bro. I need it.
Yeah, but as far as 916 Chris, he had that show, man. He was part of the first Leaving the Ring crew, with Dave and Blood, and so hey, Afro-Rican G. Yeah, man. I mean, look, family put it out there. For those that don't know, because I don't know what you mean by what happened. I believe you mean like how did he pass away? But look, 916 Chris was in an car accident early in his life, right? And that's why he was paralyzed, right? And then on his way to see a fight, unfortunately, a motorist hit him. That's how he passed away. It's unfortunate how that happened. I remember I saw the news on, I think it was his cousin. I forget how I found out. I believe a cousin of his put rest in peace and they put the at 916 Chris, and it was on my Twitter feed. I just caught it by accident. And I look at it and I DM'd them, and they're like, yes, he's my cousin. He passed away. And it's the internet. So at first I'm like, I mean, this could be a dude lying. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean? But the more I looked into it, he shared me like the Facebook, and I went to his family members are saying rest in peace, and they were putting what happened. And I came on here, and I was the first one actually to do a video
You were.
about it, and
You were.
everybody was in shock, man. And Blood did a video, Calix did a video, G Funky, you did a video too. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're still up, and but you know what happened? You know, the Hailstorm team. I was still with Hailstorm at the time, and well, I mean, it hit us, bro. He was part of the family. You know what I mean? And it might have been Scott Hill actually that put RIP. I don't remember. I don't remember how I found who I first got it from, but I remember looking into the family's like Facebook and stuff. But I came on here and we did I found out that the family had a GoFundMe, and let me tell you, man, when we came on here, we were on for at least an hour. If I remember correctly, it was myself, Hale, Mr. Factoid, um, and we put the link to the GoFundMe, and a lot of people, man, a lot of people from the quote unquote YTBC went and donated. You know what I mean? It went well over the goal, or what do you call it? I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, they set a goal for the. Yeah.
Yeah, within a day. You know what I mean? If you go to the GoFundMe right now, they leave them up. It's there. You know what I mean? And I believe it was a sister even said, thank you to the YTBC and all that, man. And
I still have that link on my video. A couple of his, I know his sister came and left a comment on my video, and then I believe one of his cousins just left the link to the GoFundMe in the comment section. I put some money in there, for him and his family, and I remember, dude. I remember that's how I found out about it, because I didn't have Twitter, I didn't have a Facebook. The only thing I was doing on the internet at the time was just making fight predictions here on YouTube. So I remember I happened to just be up late one night and so let me see what the hell's new on YouTube. I open up YouTube and then I see you put that was like the thumbnail of your video. It said RIP 916 Chris. I was like, what is this?
yeah,
I clicked on it. I was like, wow, man, I just could not believe it, And it took me till the next day to make a video. Like I felt like doing it right there, but it was just like it was really late, And I was like, I'm not gonna do it now. I'll just sleep on it and do it tomorrow. But I felt like I had to say something at least, And it's still weird that I don't see him pop up anymore, because he was so consistent with his channel. He was making predictions on every single fight. Well, not every single one, but a lot of them.
He was doing two sports too, so that's why he had it.
Yeah.
He's very diligent too. He made sure that any fight that came up, he did a video on. He always did predictions, always.
Yeah. I mean, he did his thing. You know what I mean?
He's a funny guy too, man. I remember the first time I had an interaction with him on his channel. I left a comment. I just commented about the video first, and then I said, "Hey, man, I live in 916 also. What part of the city you from? And he lived in Folsom at the time, which is a county that's like just east of Sacramento County, and we have a prison in Folsom. So it's anytime you hear somebody say, "Yeah, Folsom," yeah, you hear Folsom, you think of the prison right away. So he says, "Yeah, I live in Folsom, but not the prison." I was like, well, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, I remember the Scarface background. He had the Scarface poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always remember seeing that. Now I think I should have done the Science of Violence banner like a Scarface looking thing. I'm getting kind of good at those banners, by the way. I think I'm hitting my stride. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you're doing your thing, man.
He liked action fighters, man, and that's the way it was. But it's kind of like he understood. I made no mistake about it. He understood that the fighters he liked were beatable. Like it's not like he was like ignorant to that. Like, I'm gonna pick this guy to win every time, no matter what. You know, like he knew that the style he preferred wasn't necessarily the style that's gonna beat everybody. It's just the style that he preferred. You know what I mean? Like he knew that the Diaz brothers weren't gonna beat everybody. You know what I mean? But that's who he liked. So he liked Alfredo Angulo too.
Yeah,
I
he
remember
did.
you said that. I was like, you like Alfredo Angulo? I was like, yeah, that's who I like. You know what I mean? So, hey, when he beat Kid Chocolate, I was, hey, 916 Chris. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But I'll never forget 916 Chris, man. A lot of great memories. I know there's a lot of people that interacted with him, and the MMA community. He had friends, and the boxing community. He had friends. So shout out to him. He'll always be missed. And that's that. I mean, I want to talk about, you know, as far as 916 Chris goes, Chief Funky, if there's one thing fight fans can learn from a 916 Chris, is what? What would you say that is?
Just be yourself, man. That's what I would say, because that's the one thing that I got from him is that, like I said, he would just turn the camera on, turn the mic on, and just go. He wasn't trying to be fancy or anything like that. He didn't have the cool editing stuff. It was just him right there in front of the camera talking fights, whether it be boxing or MMA. And look where it got him, man. He got to do podcasts with you guys at his own show. I mean, like I said, he was to me the best channel to come from 916. It was just there. It was just him. Nothing special. Just him there talking about the fights. Like a real fight fan. And that's what I would say, man. Just be yourself and just be honest about it. And like you said, he knew the guys that he liked were beatable. And, he didn't care. I like him. That's what I like. And I'm sticking to it. He stood on his square, and rest in peace, my brother. And you held it down, man. And like I said in the video I made about you after you passed away, I'm trying to hold it down for 916. And I hope I'm doing a good job, man.
Yeah, look at that t-shirt. Look at that t-shirt. 916.
That's right.
All day. All right.
Represent.
Represent. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Beep, same question to you. If fight fans can learn one thing from a 916 Chris, what should that be?
Leave your emotion at the door. Just talk about the fight. If you like someone, you like somebody, but just be honest with yourself. Don't try to live vicariously through these fighters. And there's an old saying too, never fall in love with a fighter because they'll break your heart every time.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And shout out to African G and Bruce Goes. Shout out to you guys. Well, may he rest in peace. And, his videos are still up and all that. I go back once in a while, you know what I mean? You'll see my comments there. Like if you go back to the last video, I don't know the last time I commented, but I'll put something once in a while. You know what I mean? I see some people post stuff there, like I miss you, bro, stuff like that. I'll see different things. That was one of the hardest weeks of my life, to be honest with you. So
yeah, I felt really bad. It was very sad to hear that news.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you were the one that told me too.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I was the one that told everybody, So
he was young too. He wasn't that old.
Yeah.
He was younger than us. Well, he's younger than me. I don't know if he was younger than you. Was he your age? Was he your age?
I think he's around our age, Style, I think.
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about when I was able to donate to the GoFundMe, they left some information there about the situation and things like that, about how his mother had to really take care of him and stuff. I know what that's like now, man, because I have a daughter that's she's in a wheelchair, and so I really understand, man, how hard it can be physically, emotionally, financially. I mean, it's a big job, man. It never ends, you know. So that's why I felt like I had it. It wasn't just because I knew him on from YouTube, you know. It's just because I understand, you know, the struggle that goes with that, man. So, um, you know, shout out to his family too for, you know, taking care of him, uh, you know, when they had him. So rest in peace, my man.
Yeah. Look, a lot of people had a lot of conversations with the 916 Chris in private, and my interactions with him were mostly on podcast. I never had a private conversation with 916 Chris. I never like called and talked on the phone, but it was all um, on podcasts and stuff. But he was an open book, though. From what most people tell me, he was the same dude in private as public. So I feel like I knew him for sure. Right. Wheelchair man, John says I was sad that week that he passed. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Another thing I never saw 916 Chris talk about. Look, I'm guilty about talking about this stuff sometimes too, but he never talked about the business.
Never.
You know, he never talked about this guy is ducking this guy because he's asking for more money, or my fighter makes more money than this guy. And he's the highest paid, and he deserves this. So he never talked about any of that. He just talked about the fights, and that's it.
Yep.
And if there was no fight, he didn't talk about it. It was as simple as that, which is why he talked a lot of MMA, because they were making fights. So he would just talk about the fights in front of him. Right. So, hey, speaking of fights in front of us, okay, and again, shout out to 916 Chris. First of all, Beeb, what you think of the Christian Martin interview yesterday?
Very good.
I saw the first thing he put. Man, she still looks good.
She looks young. She looks young. She looks young, man.
Yeah.
I think she's like 54, if I'm not mistaken.
Up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, 50 is the new 40, they say. So I don't know.
I'm 50.
Oh, yeah. That felt good hearing that then. You know what I mean? But shit, that's 40 is the new 30 for me. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's 52.
She said Lucia Riker pulled out of the fight, and she honestly feels like she never wanted to fight her.
She said that was bullshit, is what she said.
And then she said, look, I'm not going to start shit at the Hall of Fame, but I'm not going to say she's a good fighter. Who did she fight? She said. What are your thoughts on that, B?
Lucia Reich was one of those types of fighters where, you when you give her the eye test, you were like, wow, she was, I'm going to say something very controversial, but she was the first female fighter that I watched where I could say, wow, I don't see any difference between how she fights as opposed to how a man fights, because a lot of times you could see the differences in speed and reflexes and stuff, from a woman to a man. It's I don't think that's a sexist thing to say. I just think it's reality. Lucia Riker used to fight guys. She was a Thai fighter. She actually has an official Thai fight against a man, a professional Thai fight against a man. She lost, but she actually fought a guy for real, not just sparring, not just play. So she was on a different level to me. And at that time, honestly, I thought she was the best female fighter at that time, in my opinion, with all due respect to Christy Martin. I thought Christy Martin was very good. She was very entertaining. I loved to watch her, and I just loved her personality. I loved Christy Martin. Don't get me wrong. I just thought Lucia Riker was in terms of just technical skills and just being naturally gifted, and she could punch too. I just thought she was a born fighter. She was a born fighter.
She's born to fight.
Yeah. She knew how to fight.
What happened though? I mean, she never fought Christy Martin. $1 million payday.
I'll have to blame it on her, because she was the one that seemed to me to show no interest in fighting Christy Martin, and Christy Martin was always the one calling her out. And she said, "I don't need Christy Martin." She was very dismissive of Christy Martin, and of fighting Christine Martin. So I
I know Christy did say she was following me around for 7 years like a dog chasing the car. You know what I mean?
yeah.
She like and to quote her, she said, "Okay, you caught up to me. What are you gonna do now?" And so what was Lucille Riker chasing her first?
Well, they both showed interest in fighting each other, and then once the fight got signed, I
Right.
was so excited. And then when she pulled out, Christy Martin was still trying to call her out. Call her out. Let's all right. Let's reschedule. Let's reschedule. And she just seemed to have no. After that, she seemed to have no interest in fighting Christy Martin. So initially, it was very disappointing because initially it seemed as though she really did want the fight, but then after that, maybe she lost her taste and heart and desire for the sport of boxing. After that, maybe it wasn't just Christy Martin. Maybe it was just the fact that she was doing movies too. You know what I mean? Her life
Right.
was changing. She had other avenues that she could go down to make money, and she
Okay.
was in some decent movies. I think she was in one of the Fast and the Furious movies too.
Lucille Riker was a $1 Million Baby.
Hmm.
Million Dollar Baby.
Yeah.
This
But
could have been
I mean,
$1 Million Baby for reals.
for real. Yeah. But I mean, is it fair to say like did she duck Chrissy Martin? Is that a fair statement in your opinion?
I don't like to use the word duck. I think she showed no interest in fighting her.
I mean, we're playing semantics now, baby. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
uh, okay, I
These,
get it.
these are Beebisms. These are Beebisms.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you like. Sometimes terms are so overused that it becomes a pet peeve to use them. I get it.
I don't like to ever talk about a fighter and put them in a cowardly light because I just have too much respect for the sport and I have too much respect for the fighters. I
Okay.
think, I can't ever question a fighter's heart because of how much
So you think she lost her desire to keep fighting?
I
Is what
do.
you think?
Because she was
Okay.
making movies. She could, she was doing photo shoots, I think, and stuff like. She had a lot of different things she could do.
Okay. Well, there you go. But I know Christian Martin's not impressed though. I know that.
Just like The Rock. What did The Rock do once he started getting phone calls to make movies? He stopped wrestling, right? He's making movies.
But he come back. He did some WrestleManias and stuff.
It's
You know what I mean? He came back for a little bit.
If you had a choice to be a boxer or a movie star, what would you choose?
Movie star all day.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Okay.
Someone they're gonna have a stunt double for me. You know what I mean? So I don't got to take any bumps. There's no stunt doubles in boxing, babe. Nobody's gonna take the punches for you in boxing.
Right.
Would be nice, but it's not gonna happen. So at the end of the day, I got you. What's up, Blood? I sent it, but I'll put it in the chat, Blood. I'll put it in the chat. Let me send Blood the link. I did email it, but I'm not sure what happened. It's in the link right there, Blood. I just sent it. So you can jump on. All right. So I actually want to ask Blood what he thinks about this. Did Lucia Riker duck Chrissy Martin? Or did she not have interest in fighting Chrissy Martin, babe? All right. I'll reward it for you. All right. I'll reward it.
What what would you say about it? What do you think?
The way it sounds, I don't know. I don't know the full extent, but
Do you remember it? Or
not vaguely, very vaguely. But like I was that guy that I just watched Chrissy Martin fight because she was on the undercards of these big events. You know what I mean? Like it's that's why I watched her. Blood's gonna go get his laptop. There we go. But that was me. You know what I mean?
I liked her, man.
I'm not the go-to guy. If they were to make a documentary about these two fights, I wouldn't be the guy to hire. You know what I'm saying? But if you sign to fight somebody and you went through a whole training camp and you pull out the week of, okay, I feel like you owe them the fight. I mean, I just think,
I don't disagree with that.
What do you think of her saying she bet 20 grand on herself because she thought she was going to beat Layla Ali?
Much respect to her for that. I mean, you take a fight, you have to believe you can win it, right?
Yeah, she felt like Layla hadn't been tested. At least her chin to that point hadn't been
When you
tested. You know.
when you go back and watch that fight, though, she was so much smaller than Layla Ali. Oh my gosh, she was like up to her chest.
Mm-hmm.
I think Layla Ali is what 5'11", and she's like 5'5". She was giving up like 6 inches in height.
Wow.
It was
Leila's
crazy.
almost 6 feet tall.
The size difference was, man, crazy. I remember watching that fight with a lot of my friends, and they were all picking Layla Ali because of
It was
Muhammad
a big
Ali.
fight.
You know, yeah. I
It was a big fight.
actually wanted Christy Martin to win just because everybody else was like, on the other side. But yeah, you could
Yeah.
just tell right away. It was like, man, she's just so much bigger.
And she was old. She was a lot older too. She's like what?
Yeah.
8 to 10 years older than her.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd say she was probably past her prime too at that point. Well, they fought was like 2003, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, G Funky, because I don't do that now, but I'll get to that one in a little bit. Let me get Blood on here. What's going on, Blood?
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing, man?
We're
What's up,
good,
brother?
man. We're good.
What's
How you
up, Blood?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Hey, man, that was a great interview with Christy Martin too.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
That
Yep.
was a cool interview.
Yeah. I mean, it's not every day you could interview a fighter and they know who Henry Armstrong is, and she did.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, I found that interesting on how she bet the money to beat Layla Ali. I never knew about that. I never heard that before.
I told Beav, I don't think she's ever told
That was
anybody that.
interesting.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exclusive.
Put the wow there in the parentheses. Or, wow, Christy Martin.
Hey, Blood, talk to us about the late 916 Chris, man. How you met him and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, I met him when just doing a YouTube page, and he used to comment on my videos, and then he started doing his own videos, and then 97 Rough, he was doing videos also, so we all linked up at Leaving in the Ring along with some other people, and he was really cool, man. I've talked to him quite a few times over the phone. He used to like a lot of 80s stuff like the rest of us, like 70s and 80s. Like he could talk about action movies, Chuck Norris, no matter who it is, Charles Bronson, Van Damme, Steven Seagal. I'll talk to him about that kind of stuff. Music. He was real good at knowing the West Coast hip hop scene. He liked all kind of stuff, anything that had to do with any kind of action, even wrestling, WWE, all that stuff, man. I could talk about him about the good old days of Hulk Hogan and NWO, and even before that, back to Ric Flair and all that kind of stuff, man. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me or not, man, but
yes,
yeah, man, he was really, he was real cool, man. And then of course he loved boxing and MMA too. And then he had his show, and the first show, I think it was maybe in his first 1 or 2 episodes, he had me come on there, and I'd like to say he had Buddha Sai come on there too, if I could remember correctly. He had us both as a guest on his show, and he called me before he did the show and asked me my opinion on the show, and and what his idea was and his plan, and I just gave him the best. I say, hey, man, I wish you the best, man, or whatever it is you're doing, and I'm gonna support you no matter what. So yeah, man, he was a really cool guy, man. And when I heard about him passing away, I was really surprised because he's so young. He's actually he would have been around early 40s now. 41, 42 probably. I remember he was a few years younger than me, but really cool guy, man. It was unfortunate that we lost him, but hey, it was great to see all the people come out and support him the way they did. We all went out there and we supported him, and even after he passed away, we gathered up and supported his family and tried to help out the best we could. But it was a big loss to all of us, especially to all boxing and MMA fans too, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, he was in the Hillshorn Sports team when I was there. When he passed away, it was a shocker, and I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? The first person that told me, I didn't believe it. I had to confirm and stuff, but um, it was surreal. It was one of those surreal kind of days, and week. And the older we get, I know it's scary to say, but the older we all get, man, there's going to be people that we know. I mean, there was Tito, of course, Garcia. There's people that we know that are going to pass away. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah. I was the one who got that news too on Tito Garcia. Actually, I brought that to YouTube because I knew somebody who knows him. You know what I'm saying? In Orlando, I knew the guy, and the guy grew up with Tito, so that's how I had found out about it. And when he first told me it, I couldn't believe it because I was like supposed to. He had came down to Florida. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't believe that I just missed them by like a day or something like that. But
wow,
man, it's unfortunate, man. It really is. It's really unfortunate when people pass away, and as the older we get, man, more people pass away. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. I found myself going to more funerals, and more people passing away because everybody's getting older. That's just the way it is in life, I guess. And not just I guess just the way it is. Shit.
It's definitely the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all gonna be there one day, man. So we don't know when. That's the scary part, But yeah,
Right.
man, it's tough, man. Anytime we lose people like that, man.
Yeah. Now this one, of course, was an accident.
Oh yeah, it is tough.
This was a very unfortunate situation, and it's important, and not to be cliche, but that's why it's important to not, drink and drive, don't text and drive, watch where you're going on the road, stuff like that. Today, I was helping my brother move today, and our younger brother shows up in his Camaro. He got like a brand new Camaro, right? And he just shows up like, and he just passes through the neighborhood like all super fast and shit. And I saw some kids with bicycles riding their bikes just across the street. He gets off the car. I yell at him, man. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Driving like a maniac. This ain't a speedway. You're in the neighborhood, bro. But yeah, everybody watch where you're going. It's really important. So raise awareness for that. Okay. So, hey, April, were you familiar with the Science of Violence show he did on? He had it on his own. Then he took it to Hillshorn Sports.
Yes, I am. Absolutely.
Yeah, what you think of the name, Science of Violence?
I like the name, man. That's an awesome name, man. Great name, very unique. Yes,
very unique
indeed, man.
Yeah, for sure. Trap House Boxing in the building. What's going on, man? How's it going? We were talking about blood. Christine Martin basically alluded that Lucia Riker ducked her. She pulled out of the fight. She said she thought it was bullshit, that the injury was bullshit. What do you think? Do you think she ducked Christine Martin?
Well, she pulled out of several fights. So, I mean, and according to Christine Martin, she ducked the wife, too, a few times. So, she ducked the wife 3 times or some shit. So,
that's nuts.
That's a deadly combination right there, boy. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Do you remember the Layla Ali fight, Blood?
Yeah, hell yeah, I remember the Layla Ali fight when she stepped over Krista Martin after she knocked her down. Yeah, I remember that. Indeed, I do. And I'm glad you didn't ask her in detail about that stuff. You did the right thing by not bringing that shit up. But, it was a great interview, and it's good to see her. And I'm glad that she's getting into promotion because people who gave to the sport should get something back from the sport. So people should be supportive in her being a former warrior gladiator that went out there. They should be supportive as she moves towards being a promoter they should support her, man.
And
So I'm gonna stand behind Krista Martin, man, because she's a war, and she gave me a lot of great memories too when she used to come on there and fight Walmart clerks and all kind of shit and knock them out and knock them senseless. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the late Christy Martin, man, or not the late, but she's still around. But
Damn, Freestyle, you want to put one on her?
no, she's doing her thing. She's promoting. You know,
Yeah.
you know what was refreshing? She was actually promoting the fighters when she's on my show. She's not looking at a piece of paper like Oscar De La Hoya. You know, like she knows these guys. You know, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. Oscar De La Hoya reading off the damn card. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
ridiculous, man. That was some of the most embarrassing stuff I've ever seen, bro. And yeah, it would be good to see. Yeah, I'm sure she would be. I mean, look at Dova. She's a great promoter.
Mhm.
We've seen women as successful promoters before, but now we got a real fighter coming in there. You know what I'm saying? Christy Martin.
Right.
So,
Christy, absolutely.
You know, and then anybody cross her path, they might be in a little bit of trouble too, because I'm sure she still got that left hook.
Hey, now one thing all four of us remember are Don King cards. You know, like the events he would put on. Look, a lot of people complain about Don King. They call him corrupt, this and that, but a lot of fighters say the same thing Christy says. Like Christy said on the show, she's like, I mean, if Don King told you something or you shook on it, you probably shouldn't take his word for it. But anything in writing, anything that was in the contract, he honored. You know, she didn't have any problems at all with Don King. You know, but she also mentioned about the cards, bro. You know, like what is it going to take for a promoter to give us those type of fight cards again? You know, those are pay-per-views I would definitely pay for. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that would be that's true, but they need to have those fighters in their camp. You know, a lot of the fighters are spread out between different promotional networks, whereas Don King kind of had some kind of he had a monopoly in the heavyweight division for sure. He had the heavyweight division on lock. Okay, now there was some other promoters out there in the smaller weight divisions. You had Dova, you had Bob Arum and all them. You know what I'm saying? Goosen, remember Goosen?
Yeah.
You know, you had all of those guys, but Don King, he would stack the cards, man. He would stack the heavyweight cards. You get all the up and coming talent. You know, he'll put guys like Jimmy Young and all of those guys in there against up and coming talent. He'll feature guys like Greg Page and had so many different fighters. Then he had Julio Cesar Chavez. He promoted Salvador Sanchez versus I think the Lopez. He might have did the second Lopez fight.
Gomez fight too. Yeah.
He did Gomez for sure. He definitely did Gomez, but I can't remember if he did that second.
Little Red Lopez, I don't remember
because I know he was sick. Okay, yeah, but Gomez for sure. But he's been involved in so many different fighters, man. You know, he's had so many different fighters, and different fighters have had different relationships with Don King. Like some of them will say, "Hey, man, he was always great," and then others would, like Tim Witherspoon. They had a bit of falling out, and Mitch Blood Green, and so many fighters had a bitter falling out with Don King, man. It just depends on who it was, you know. But you know how the promoter is, they're going to get everything they can out of the fighter, man. That's how it always has been. You know, they're going to get all they can out of the fighter. And the promoter usually comes up on the better end of everything because they're not out there taking the punches either. So
that's true.
You know.
But let's take Golden Boy, for example, though. Like, not at the moment, but there was a time where Golden Boy had a lot of talent. Like, all the PBC fighters used to be under Golden Boy. You know what I mean? Plus what he has now, they wouldn't give us good cards. Like, they would give us a main event, a bunch of shitty fights. You know what I mean? And it's, I just, for some reason, Don King, at the very least, at least he was pro for the fans. He gave us good fights. You know? He with what he had, he would stack it. You know, like I think Don King understood the value of a return customer. Like he wanted people to know, like when Don King puts on an event, you're gonna get your money's worth, and I think that's what he wanted to do. So, B, what do you remember about Don King, man? His cards. I know you told me before.
Cards were always great from top to bottom, and like Blood said, the reason why that was the case is because when you have all the fighters, you can make the big fights. There wasn't no across the street, and the beautiful thing about Don King too was he didn't really have an ego when it came to making big fights because he had such a disdain for Bob Arum, but they always could work together because they were about the business. They were always about the business first, and that's how come these cards, these big fights got made. He never would say, "Well, I'm not going to work with that guy. I'm not going to work with this guy."
Yeah,
Right.
something you don't see nowadays, man. These guys got to learn to be businessmen and make some fights, man.
Yeah, and look at all the memories it built. Like that's how a lot of us know Chrissy Martin because she was on the undercard of a lot of these big fights.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, if Don King got greedy and put her on separate fight cards, people probably wouldn't be paying attention to her that much.
nope.
So I don't know. I just think they need to take a page to a certain degree on what Don King used to do. He was good at what he did. He was good at promoting, and that's that. So. Hey, Blood, are you still excited for that Tyson Jones fight?
And man, I'm still excited for that fight, and I will be watching it whether they charge us pay-per-view or not. I'll still watch it. I'll support the event. I'm still wondering if this is going to be a serious fight or not. Are they going to go in there and try to knock each other out? Tyson said that he's going to try to knock out Roy Jones. I think Roy Jones has presented his strategy. But if it gets serious in there, man, I see Tyson taking out Roy Jones, man. I hope he don't hurt him. That's all I have to say, man. Yeah, I'm interested in it, though. That's for sure.
Do you think Roy Jones will win this fight if he survives the first 4 or 5 rounds?
It's going 8 rounds, right?
I believe
7
so,
or 8 rounds.
Yeah.
He can win a decision if he stays away from Tyson's power, and if he just better hope Tyson's not trying to take him out. That's the way I look at it. But I think it's possible, yeah. Roy Jones, he could. What he has to do is he just has to. He's going to have to use his legs, but he don't have those type of legs like he used to have. So I don't know. What he's going to do, really. I favor Tyson, man. I favor Tyson. I'm trying to think of it in my mind, and I'm thinking about it, man, and I just can't see Roy Jones pulling it off, man. I mean, he could do it because he's Roy Jones, but he doesn't have the legs he used to have.
What do you think, Beep? Like, well, one, are you looking forward to this fight?
I'm curious. I'm intrigued by this because, like Blood said, I think I want to know if this does turn out to be a real fight. Because like once Tyson starts getting into the heat of battle, will he be able to pull back? Is there any turning back once he's at once his blood starts boiling in there? And if Roy Jones boxes him and starts to frustrate him, will Tyson do something crazy? So that there's all these factors that pique my curiosity for this fight.
Okay,
but I think I don't know, man. Tyson's just so much bigger than him. I don't know. I just think that Roy's going to probably weigh about 205. Tyson's going to be like probably 228, 230-ish. And Tyson's just as fast as Roy right now, I think, even though he's bigger. So when you're big and you're fast and you're powerful like that, and plus Roy doesn't throw a ton of punches. Tyson's more active too, is more aggressive. Style-wise, I don't think this is a good matchup for Roy. So I think if this was real, I think Tyson would win.
Yeah. Look, man. Here's my concern for Roy. Even the last 2 fights that Tyson quit on or whatever, or He didn't look so good in the McBride fight.
Yeah.
He still
Yep.
landed some big punches on those guys, and when he didn't take them out in the first 2 rounds, then he gave in. You know what I mean? So, like,
Right.
I don't think Roy can withstand those punches. You know, like even with I don't. Are they going to have headgear after all, Blood?
I heard they are.
I heard that they're having headgear, so I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. I heard headgear from one of the boxing networks. That's what I was reading on the boxing networks, is that it was headgear
Okay.
because it's in the state of California where they have to have
All right.
headgear. But then I heard that it's not, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
I tell you what, it does make a big difference in the outcome of this fight if it does end up being a real fight. One thing about Roy Jones too is, you remember in his prime, part of his defense was his offense. He used to let his hands go with those vicious combinations.
Yeah.
After his prime, man, after that second Tarver fight, I've never seen him pull the trigger like he did back in his heyday. You know, he used to be able to just put off a 4 or 5 punch combination. You know, he used to pull that off, but he won't even try that in his latest fights. He ain't tried nothing like that, and he's gonna need that kind of heat to keep Tyson off of his ass. So he don't even have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? He don't have the legs anymore. He don't have the 4 or 5 punch combinations. You know, he never really worked off a jab. You remember, he did everything wrong, Roy Jones. His the technical side of it, he didn't need that when he was younger because he was so much more physically gifted than everyone else, and he had a speed advantage and reflexes and everything like that. He don't have any of that no more. He don't have the 4 or 5 punch combinations anymore. You don't have none of that to keep Tyson off him. So he's going to have to pray that it's some kind of exhibition thing, and where they both agreed that they're going to let each other get out of the fight. Now, if they both agree to that, then Roy Jones has a chance then, because he might just, you know, steal those last 2 rounds or some shit.
Right.
But if real fight, it's all Tyson, man. You know.
Well, there's always a possibility Tyson gasses after 2 rounds or something, and Roy just tees off on him for the remainder of the fight. But I mean, that remains to be seen. I just don't know. I think once Tyson catches him, it's night. I think if it's anywhere near a real fight. But what I want to ask you and Beeb is this: so, what is it like? What is the intrigue exactly? Because I'm going to watch it, obviously. I'm not going to act like I'm not. I am. But is it like a Blood? Do you feel like they deserve our support because they're legends and that's why you're going to watch it? Like, what exactly is the intrigue for you in this fight?
Well, I want to support them because they're both legends, and I want to support all the guys from my age range or older, the guys who I came up off of. I want to support all of those guys just based on that alone. But I also think it would be a very entertaining fight. Once again, it just goes back to, is this a real fight? You know, is this going to be an exhibition in which they try to knock each other out, stop each other? That's the only thing, you know. Or does that WWE factor come in, like Beeb said? You know, does that WWE, how much of that is going to factor in?
Yeah.
So, you know, it just comes down to that. That's really all it comes down
Okay.
to, man.
Do you feel the same way, Beeb, or you have like a different perspective as to why you're intrigued by this?
I just want to see Tyson fight again after being out for so long. It's one thing looking at the footage. Now, will that translate into the ring? That's what I want to see on fight night. Will that translate when he's under the lights, but
Okay.
with another man standing in front of him that's trying to hit him just like he's trying to hit that man?
Gotcha.
Different thing than just hitting the pads.
That's true. Funky, how do you right now, August 6th, how are you feeling about this fight? Have Blood and Beeb sold you on it? Are you ready to buy the fight?
He loves it. He loves it.
Man, I'm still. Go ahead,
DVR it.
I'm still a little on the fence about if I'm gonna order it or not, like buy it or not. I mean, I'm gonna watch it one way or another. Um, but yeah, man, I think really it all depends on Tyson, man. What kind of Tyson shows up? I mean, Roy's still been active. I think his last fight was like 2 years ago or something like that. I mean, he hasn't been fighting anybody serious though, but he's been, I guess you could say, in some kind of boxing shape. As where Tyson hasn't really done nothing since 2005, right? Was when he lost to McBride, and hasn't been back since. So if he's able to go a good 8 rounds, if he's got the stamina for that, then Roy's in trouble, because like
Right.
Blood said, Roy don't have the legs anymore. He don't have the reflexes. He can't let his hands go like he used to. I mean, even when you see videos of him training recently, it's just like one punch. Like you'll see him in that classic Roy Jones stance. He'll just throw one shot, and then another shot. Like it's not like it used to be. So if Tyson, if he gasses, then he might, Roy might be able to pot shot him all night, stay away possibly. But I don't know, man. I think he's been knocked out so many times, and not just knocked out, but I mean these were like vicious knockouts. I mean, knockouts like when he got knocked out by Glenn Johnson. I mean, they had the damn credits rolling on HBO Championship Box. Guy's still on the ground. Like I mean, it was funny. I was like, man, they did Roy dirty with that one. I mean, dude's still on the ground and rubbing his head.
Is
and
that
the credits
true?
are rolling, Yeah.
I don't remember that. They were
Yeah.
playing the credits while you were still in the mat.
Bro, he was still on the ground, and they had the
So,
credits rolling. They had the saxophone playing, the HBO theme. Like I'm serious,
you're
bro.
correct. You're
So
right.
he's been knocked out pretty viciously, man. So I worry for Roy, man.
We gotta go, folks. He's still laying on the mat. Like that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I heard it. Like I don't remember that.
I think that's how it happened. He was either still on the ground or he was like sitting up on the canvas still, and they had like the eyes behind him.
That's it. That's it for HBO Boxing. By the way, can someone go wake up Roy?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Mike Tyson really was smoking weed when they signed the contract. Wheelchair. Yeah, he was. Remember, he had a blunt in his hand as he was signing the contract. I thought they had to be clear of marijuana. I guess it's okay for them too, since it's an exhibition.
they
I guess they're allowed to be high off marijuana.
It's California, blood. It's legal out here, man.
I thought it was a cigar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. He could come straight up off Gorilla Glue up in that bitch. He could have Gorilla Glue, all that shit. OG, he got some of that OG up in him.
Tyson gonna come out of a BMW full of smoke. That's how he's gonna walk into the.
Yeah, I like this.
I don't think he spelled it right, but Ace Stone. I mean, where is Budasai? The body bangers. He's just done with boxing, huh?
You know, man, I still got his number on I have to look through my older phones, man, to see if it's somewhere. I know I got it, but I talked to him like 5 years ago, so I know he's still around, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, man.
He's around.
So is this like if Tyson stops Roy, right? Is it gonna be the classic, like they stop it and like Tyson tries to hold him up? Like, you know how Tyson does? They try to help the ref. Like instead of helping, it kind of gets in the way though. It's like awkward. Like move out of the way, Tyson, but or they're gonna go through the credits, like Roy's still gonna be like
Roy's gonna be not cold dead. I'll be worried. I'll be real worried for Roy Jones, man. It might be one of them stretcher moments, man. I don't want to see it though. They're too old. I don't want to see them guys at that age.
If they go to the credits and Roy's still in the mat, bro, that's gonna break the internet right now, today, in social media. Like we don't even know whether the dude's dead or what. They just ended the stream. They say good night, folks.
Hey, I got it right here on my phone. I don't know if you want me to show it or not, but he wasn't on the ground, but he was in the corner and they're icing his neck, and they're playing his. Still on the canvas in the ring, still being treated
Play the music, bro.
You hear it?
He had a
They
concussion,
did,
man.
hey, they did Roy dirty with that one.
He had a concussion, man. That's what it was. He had a concussion.
Wow. Man,
Yep.
they were playing music and everything. I thought it was still laying on the mat, G Funky. Like laying on the mat with the
Nah,
credits
that's a
playing.
little bit better. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
little better than laying on the
Yeah.
mat, bro.
It's been a long
That's
time
not as
since I
bad
seen
right
that,
there.
but I remember we were laughing about that after the fight. We are like, "Damn, Roy didn't even give a post-fight interview, and then they're playing the music, and he's still out in the corner." Like,
So,
damn.
so wait a minute. Was Roy laid out when like Glenn Johnson was conducting the interview?
I think so. He was on the ground for a while after that, because you know the thing
Yeah,
with
that
that
Glenn
knockout,
Johnson knockout was terrible.
yeah, because he got hit, and then when he went down, I think it was him hitting his head was what really did it. You know, he was hurt pretty bad, man.
Yeah. I mean, the chandelier was cracked. It was broken already. You know what I mean? At this point. So that's that, man. Now, speaking of fights, pay per view, a fight that is going to happen is Tank Davis against Leo Santa Cruz. Blood, are you buying that fight?
Nah, man, absolutely not. I'll watch it though. I will watch it that night, but I won't be buying it.
Hey, I've heard you go in on Tank. Like, what's your what is it that you don't like about Tank?
There's a lot of stuff I don't like about Tank, but you know what? I haven't went in on Tank in a while because I just don't keep up with the kid. I mean, I don't take him too serious. I want to see these guys fight top fighters. Don't get me wrong. I think Leo Santa Cruz is a very good fighter. I just think he's too small for Tank Davis. Tank Davis is naturally a bigger guy. He's younger than Santa Cruz. I think that Santa Cruz, you know, he had those two fights with what's his name, Frampton. He had two fights with Frampton,
Right?
that was kind of close, and plus, he's one of those guys who kind of cherry picked his way through. He didn't fight Rigondeaux. You know, I have my criticisms of him, but still, you know, he's a decent fighter. But he's gonna get beat up by Tank Davis. I guarantee you, Tank Davis is gonna stop Santa Cruz. I bet
Guarantee
money
that.
on that.
You're gonna bet money
Yeah, I
on
bet
it.
money
Beep,
on that.
go ahead, Beep. Well, who do you think's gonna win?
I like the upset here. I think Santa Cruz is a little bit more versatile than Tank. I think the volume of Santa Cruz. I think the volume of Santa Cruz and the inactivity of Tank, and just the inconsistency of Tank as well. And then this fight's going to be at 130, and Tank couldn't even make 135. And then he's had this long layoff, and long layoffs with this COVID aren't going to be good for a guy like Tank, who doesn't really have discipline in the ring. So I like
This fight's at 130 though. I didn't know
Yeah,
that part. Now,
Well, actually, it's boxing, so it's always complicated, right? So
Yeah, it's weird.
this is it's 130. It's for the 130 and 135 belts.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
what I
Tank
thought.
doesn't make,
But the contracted weight is 130.
contracted weight is 130. According to Leo, Tank will have to pay some good change for every pound it goes up.
Tank didn't look, as crazy as this may sound, he dominated against Gamboa, but he didn't look great in that fight. There was a lot of things that were red flags in that fight. He was very inactive. He was tired. Gamboa was way past his prime, and Gamboa was actually hurt in that fight, and it took him till the 12th round to get him out of there. And Gamboa was landing some good shots too. And Tank was going to the ropes a lot in that fight, taking breaks. If he does that against Santa Cruz is a guy that throws 1,000 punches a fight. Like he's just so busy. If you take breaks against Santa Cruz, you'll end up losing rounds. I think Tank's going to get outworked in this fight. I really do. And plus, Tank's a mid-range guy. He's not really an inside fighter. Like when he'll lay up against the ropes, and when a guy gets inside on him, he'll just stand there and just try to block everything and try to be like Mayweather. But you're not going to win rounds that way.
Hey, shout out to Eve Factor Allen. I did read your stuff, man, at the start of the show. Good stuff, bro. Shout out to you. Beep, can you specify? I think a lot of people confuse versatility with athletic ability, right?
Well,
So when you say he's more versatile, can you
go
kind of
back and
elaborate?
watch Santa Cruz when he fought Frampton the first time and when he fought Mares the first time. He kind of fought their fights. He fought at close range and lost the first Frampton fight, and obviously he won the first Mares fight, but it was a more difficult fight than it had to be. He boxed from the outside against both guys in the rematch. So he used his jab. And thing about Santa Cruz with his jab is he just keeps pumping it out there. Doesn't try to land the jab perfectly. He just tries to keep you occupied because when you're having to parry that jab, you can't throw punches. So he makes it difficult for guys to get set because he just keeps touching them and touching them and touching them and touching them, and then he mixes in a hard shot. So he showed that he could fight at a distance, and he showed that he could use subtle movement from the outside to kind of stick and move against these guys. Tank is a mid-range guy. He likes to throw that right hook in the mid-range, and he's
tried a lot of southpaws though. Because Tank, with Tank being a southpaw, that brings something different to the table.
Yeah. I mean, he's fought a few southpaws, but none that can punch like Tank. But the thing is this.
And I also think he has more power than guys like Frampton. I think he has.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, B. But sorry, bro. Go ahead.
Well, and the thing about Tank too is no problem. The thing about Tank is I just don't like the fact that he's so inactive. Like a lot of times he'll just throw one punch at a time. So if he doesn't hurt Santa Cruz, like Santa Cruz has a way of rolling shots, keeps his hands pretty high. So a lot of times, you can't really hit him flush. He'll partially block the punch and he'll roll the shot. Now, obviously, Tank's the harder puncher. We know that. But Santa Cruz can punch too. And Santa Cruz is a good body puncher. So when I say versatility, I mean Santa Cruz can fight on the inside and he can fight on the outside. He can fight a little bit in the mid-range. But I would advise him to stay out of the mid-range, which I think he knows that's Tank's sweet spot. So yes. I think sort of like when Marquez fought Pacquiao, how Marquez would go all the way in against Pacquiao, and then as he went out, he'd have Pacquiao follow him out, and then he'd counter him. I think Tank, because he's so inactive on the inside, I think Santa Cruz will smother Tank up close and go to the body and just be a buzzsaw on the inside. And Tank is just going to sit there and he's going to try to block everything because that's what he does. And then on the outside, he has a 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. So Tank's going to have to, close the gap there. So I think the activity and just the ability to fight on the inside and the outside, that's the versatility.
Okay. Well, here's my thing. To Blood's credit, I mean, he brings up a good point about the southpaw stance. However, when you fight a guy on the inside, when you're in close, like this close to them, like from elbow from here, when you're that close to someone, you could hook with both arms because the opponent's right there. It really doesn't matter if you're southpaw or orthodox when you're that close. You know what I mean? The uppercuts are basically at the same distance. You know what I mean? And I think that's where, in my opinion, that's where Santa Cruz is going to be. He's going to smother his punches, and he's going to work that body, bro. If he comes in the way he came in against Gamboa, if he doesn't get Leo Santa Cruz out of there in 4 rounds, it's going to be, in my opinion, a long night for Tank.
Santa Cruz gets better as the fight goes on. His output actually is higher in the later rounds than it is in the earlier rounds.
That's very true.
Tank just fades. Like if Tank's gonna go in there thinking that I'm just gonna land one big shot and get this guy out of here, and he just fights very lazily and inactive, he's gonna get outworked. I just have a feeling he's gonna get outworked. I think he's gonna underestimate Santa Cruz. I think he's gonna get outworked. I really do.
Oh wow, G Funky. You still feel the same as yesterday?
Yeah, I do. And like I said yesterday, I was one of those guys. I was high on Davis. A few years back, but it's just the inconsistency, the not making weight, the taking long breaks in fights. Not throwing a lot of punches. I mean, Santa Cruz is a guy that could exploit all these things. Because he comes ready to fight 12 rounds.
Yeah.
He's going to keep the pressure. He's going to keep coming. He's going to keep a lot of throwaway shots, which keep him busy. Like he might throw 3 punches, 2 of them might not be hard, but then that last one is.
Yeah.
And it's
touch, boom, touch, boom.
Yeah, he likes to hide the power. So I think if Davis and his team are smart, they'll tell him, look, forget about trying to go for the knockout early. Just try to win rounds. And then we'll see what we can do. Maybe mid rounds. But he does tend to like to go for the knockout early on guys. He likes to look flashy, throw big shots, and when they land, I mean, they hurt guys. I mean, he's got power, legit power, no doubt about that. It's if Leo can take him, and like you said, Gustav, it starts to get to late in the fight. It could be a long night for Tank, man. I have to go with the guy who's been more consistent, and that's Santa Cruz. That's just the way I've looked at it, man.
Here's my issue with Tank Davis, and I think you all will agree. Okay, but to me, fighters like Tank that always never come at their best and stuff like that, I just question them. You know what I mean? I question their drive. I question if they're going to be consistent. Like fighters that he reminds me of are Adrian Broner, Andy Ruiz, Chris Arreola. Okay, guys that could do better, but they don't because they don't want to be 100% and lose. They'll rather come in less than that. They'll rather come in 60%. And if they lose, they could say, and their fans do it too. Oh, but if only he came in shape though, he would have won. If he let his hands go, he would have won that fight though. And like Adrian Broner, like till this day, I still hear people say the same thing. Man, if Adrian Broner did this and if he did that, and
or here's the other one that they say about Adrian Broner and Tank Davis. Oh, he'll get it together this fight. He'll take this fight more seriously. If you find yourself saying that all the time, and just the fact that you're fighting a smaller guy and you were trying to fight another smaller guy in Mares, and now you're moving back down in weight after you couldn't even make 135, and you're missing weight in title fights, not just regular fights, in title fights. When the title's on the line, you lost your title on the scales twice. And then against Gamboa, there was a vacant 135-pound title on the line, and he couldn't even challenge for it because he was even over in that fight. So if you're fighting in title fights, defending your title, and you can't get motivated in those fights, so like what can you get motivated for?
Let me tell you guys something. The fight starts when you sign that contract. Okay? When you go to training camp.
Agreed.
Getting his shit. That's
two
what
words they like to use. One is motivated, and another one is they was not motivated for this fight, and then the other one is they wasn't focused. Focused is the other word. Oh, AB just wasn't focused for this fight. He wasn't motivated. We're getting tired of hearing that all the time. Once you have to hear that more than one time, it's starting to get a little bit redundant, and then it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Like, look, dude, I still hear guys say AB should be undefeated. It's just that he didn't take those fights seriously. First of all, you don't know that, right? But like that's number one. But dude, he does it. Like, don't you guys understand that he's scared of coming in at his best because he's scared of losing at his best, right? They don't want to go to that deep, dark tunnel and know the fucking truth.
Looking for alibis.
You're looking for alibis. That's a weakness. That's weak. I can't support
and the fighter
guys like that.
Steven used to shit his damn self. You hear AB saying, well, you guys know I wasn't focused for this one or something like that. They try to use that excuse they don't even let the fans use it for them. They'll use it they damn self. That's just how bad it is, They're looking for a fucking excuse. The fighter's looking for a motherfucking excuse, which is terrible.
Yeah, any fighter that mentally, to me, this is a mental weakness. Okay, all right, and for you to be a boxer, like if you mentally cannot get it all together and come in at your best, right? Because you're scared of losing at your best. Like you're not cut out for this. You know what I mean? You're not cut out to be a boxer at the highest level. You're not. Like Ali wasn't scared of losing, right? So he came at his best every fight, win, lose, or draw. And if he lost, he'll come back the second time, all right?
Let me ask you this: Do you think Tank was doing any road work during this COVID crisis?
I don't know.
You think he was out running? Do you think he was out doing conditioning work? I bet you Santa Cruz was. I bet you Tank was using this as an excuse to probably kind of lay back and eat whatever he
did have. Remember that sparring footage that kid do to have love handles, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like you could see it through the love handles.
I don't think he's gonna make that 130 though. I don't give a fuck about the contract.
No.
He's not making the 130.
No, he's not. But here's the thing.
Not.
He'll probably weigh about 133. They'll pay Santa Cruz money. And here's the thing. This is another thing everyone's saying. This is another thing everyone's saying, but I think they're wrong. Oh, well, he won't make weight, and then he'll just come in at 150, and you know he'll be so much bigger. Okay, that's not always great either, because he's drained even at 133. So he'll be totally depleted and drained at 133. And you think you're going to put all those electrolytes and all that nutrition and rehydrate properly? Everyone thinks this day before weigh-in is such an advantage for fighters. It's really not, because they're going from one extreme to another. When you deplete your body and take your body to a place it doesn't want to go, and then all of a sudden you shock your system by loading it with calories, by slamming 5,000 calories down in 2 hours or whatever. That makes you sluggish. That puts you in a food coma. It takes about 36, more than 36 hours. It takes about 48 like 3 or 4 days to properly rehydrate yourself after you're totally depleted. You're not going to get it all back in 36 hours. So Tank is going to be sluggish. That's what he was sluggish against Gamboa. You see how sluggish he was against Gamboa? He was only throwing like friggin' 10 punches a round.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And by the way, he was a one-legged man for the majority of that fight.
So Tank will put on a shitload of weight, but he'll be sluggish in doing so, because he'll be shocking his system from going from one extreme to the other in such a short period of time, in my opinion.
Very dangerous too. Very dangerous to do stuff like that. I remember when I talked to my friend who used to be a professional fighter. He told me, he goes, if I was training a fighter today, I would not let him do some of the things that I did to myself to try to make weight. You know, like very dangerous, some of the stuff he was doing, man. And I imagine this is exactly what guys like Tank Davis have to do to try to squeeze down to that weight. I don't think that's an advantage at all, man.
When you're trying to strip off 7 or 8 pounds the week of the fight, that's no man's land right there. You're taking your body to a place it doesn't want to go, and your body's gonna fight you hard. Okay, it's gonna fight you hard to keep those pounds on.
That chick at the bar, I would have smashed her tonight, but I don't want to go. You know, I didn't go ask her out though. You know what I mean? Like that's how these guys sound, bro. That's how they sound when they say I wasn't focused, and if only I did this, and if only I did that. I don't know, man. And you know what? It kind of works. It works. I see a lot of dudes out here, man, on YouTube land, on social media. They say it like that. Like, oh man, I don't know if he comes in focused this time. I think he can win. And he wasn't focused for that fight. He wasn't prepared for that fight. They're saying it right now.
If you're
these guys, like yesterday, that dude told me, you're just hoping Tank comes in 70% or less of the fight. Like, well, what is this? Like a Mortal Kombat game, he's gonna come at 70%.
Dude, some of these guys are still saying the same thing about Adrian Broner. They're thinking, because there was reports that he might come back and fight Regis Prograis at 140. They're like, I'm taking AB. I'm taking AB.
Someone had the gall to leave a comment in my video when I was talking about this fight, and they said, "What do you mean Tank Davis has weight problems?"
He has
Oh,
weight
wow.
problems. When
Name
you
one.
can't make if you
Name one. He goes. Name one fight that he couldn't make weight in, and I named like 4.
I think he should be at super lightweight. Tank. Tank needs
Yes.
to be at super lightweight. Is where he needs to
140,
be.
yeah.
140 is.
But here's the problem with that. He's only 5'5.5".
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
well,
That's true,
Barbados Joe Walcott was 5'1". He could do it if he's so great. 5'5".
Yeah.
Pernell Whitaker was 5'5". You know what I'm saying? 5'6".
Went up to welterweight. Yeah.
But I
And he
thought
went
that
all
was
the way
like,
to welterweight, yeah.
oh yeah, I
If
thought
he
that was.
stops around 140, 147, you know, but he's not
Well-
he's not going to be able to make 135 because he doesn't seem to have those kind of genetics. You
Well,
can just look at him.
Pernell Whitaker and Manny Pacquiao was short too, and they were able to fight at 147. So
yeah.
if you could, you know,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Can I say this? I want to talk about this because
Yeah.
this is a line that's said a lot. Okay, a lot people say this a lot, but like I know what you guys mean, but can you please tell me like look, AB just needs to let his hands go. Okay, like you guys really think he sits there in the corner like, nah, I'm not gonna let my hands go. You know, I'm just gonna like, what? He is who he is, right, babe? I mean, that's how he fights. Like, what do you guys want?
You're not in there with a heavy bag, you know, where you can just throw punches and nothing's coming back at you. Obviously, the guy across the ring is gonna put you in situations where you can't let your hands go, which Manny Pacquiao did, which Sean Porter did, which Mikey Garcia did. So
Yeah, he doesn't have the reflexes of a Floyd Mayweather, guys. That's what I think it is.
To be honest, he's 147 too. He's another guy who tries to shrink into certain weight classes. He's really a welterweight.
Yeah.
He's really a welterweight.
if he
He got
let
his ass whooped by Marcos Maidana, who was just a superior fighter. What's that?
Hey, but Blood, you remember before
Sorry
that
about
fight? No, but you remember before the Maidana fight, no one was giving Maidana a chance
Right.
because everybody was high on Broner, you know? And they kept talking about his potential, and if he does this and that, he's the next Floyd, and this and that, and you know, and everybody acted shocked when Maidana beat him. But in hindsight, we shouldn't have been as shocked given the fact that he struggled with Paulie Malignaggi. You know,
Yeah.
I just the signs were there with AB.
I think he also had a tough fight with the Ponce de Leon.
Yes,
at the lower weight class. You know.
I thought he lost that fight too.
Yeah.
it was close. Yeah.
I thought he lost it.
Oh, you
Like-
know, AB.
Hey man, you know, I think I don't, guys. I think he if he could let his hands go, he would like he did with DeMarco. He would let his, you know what I mean? But it's just that it's hard when you keep throwing punches. Someone's going to be throwing punches back at you, you know. And AB, he doesn't have that. It's a switch. It's either defense or offense, and that's it. That's how he fights. He cannot do what you guys are asking him to do. You know, he's incapable. It's not a decision that he's just making. Like, do you really believe that if it was that simple, if all you had to do was let his hands go, and that's all you had to do to beat Pacquiao, you don't think he would just do it? You don't think he would just let him go?
If he let his hands go against Pacquiao, he probably would have got stopped, man. That's what I really think. Because one thing that he tries to pattern his style around Floyd, but one thing that Floyd understood once he started moving up in weight is that, he couldn't let his hands go the way he used to in those lower weight classes because he's with bigger guys that hit harder. Anytime you let your hands go that way, guess what? There's a chance you're going to get caught with some shit. Just like he did with Shane Mosley. He was in the middle of an exchange with Shane Mosley, got caught with a big right hand, almost got knocked out. So, there's that's the thing with Broner. If he lets his hand, if he was to let his hands go the way these guys say he should have against a guy like Pacquiao who's just storming at him like that, he would have got clipped with something big, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. You know what I mean? But hey, you know, there's still guys hanging on to AB to this day, hoping that he's going to get it all together one day.
They sure are.
I mean, okay, good luck. You know what I mean? Well, we will see. You know, but hey, man, we pretty much hit on everything here. I want to thank you guys for coming on, man. Blood, Beeb. Hey, Blood, man, give us an update. How's that that documentary, Salvador Sanchez, coming along?
Man, I've been slacking, man. I've been slacking on that shit. I'm trying to get it out, man, for the 12th because that's the anniversary, man. But but I don't know, man. I've been slacking off because I've been doing so much other shit and trying to. I got a lot of shit that I've been doing just over the past few days, but I'm gonna get back up on the grind here soon. Try to get it out by the 12th.
Hey, shout out to On the Grind,
Sure.
Podcast. Are they still around? On the Grind?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right,
No,
man.
they're not
No, they're not. Okay.
They're extinct.
Babe, tell everybody where they can find you.
Ringside Reporter Live on YouTube, and check out the podcast every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
There you go.
Myself and Eric Lauder.
There we go. And Chief Funky, give us some final words, man.
Final words is, of course, rest in peace. My hometown homeboy, 916 Chris. We all miss you. Blood, I'm looking forward to that Salvador Sanchez documentary, man. I'm really looking forward to that one, man. I'm going to get my dad to watch that, too, because he was a big Salvador Sanchez fan. I'll be looking for it, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm going to try to say his name right like y'all say it. I'm going to try to pronounce it right like how y'all do it, the right way.
Salvador Sanchez. Like that?
Salvador Sanchez. You can get it, man. Just practice a little bit, But
hey, there's no R in it. You don't have to roll your R.
This video right here.
That's right. He'll be talking. It'll be my voice, like when he says the name. Like
every time.
Sanchez.
Yeah, every time it would be D Styles' voice. Salvador Sanchez.
Salvador.
There you go.
Oh shit.
All right. Well, what was that, G Funky?
Yeah. Just thanks for tuning in, guys, and HCP in the house, man. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Órale.
I'm working on another guest. I don't let out the names until I know I'm gonna have them on. You know what I mean? So I'm working on another guest for next Wednesday. So you guys stay tuned for that one. Look forward to having you on next week, babe.
Okay.
All right. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. We're out.
Órale.
And rest in peace. And 916 Chris. Peace.
Yeah.